Hello there, amazing viewers and subscribers, and welcome to a Doctor Who character breakdown. And of course, today I'm be doing a breakdown on the character known as the Rani. Now, yesterday we all saw the return of the Rani. Well, basically, we saw the return of the Rani in basically the Church on Ruby Road with Mrs. Flood. But yes, it was confirmed that Mrs. Flood was actually Rani. Now, if you will remember, basically when I did my review on the Church on Ruby Road, and I did my theory video a couple of weeks later, and I said that I thought Mrs. Flood was going to be the Rani, I would actually never thought I would have got that bit right. But I'm so amazed I kind of did. I absolutely was like, Mrs. Flood could be the Rani, but then people told me I was like being a little bit silly, and it's like, okay, I think she could be something bigger. So we have the return of the Rani, and now we have two versions of the Rani because of the whole bi-generation thing. So I want to do a character breakdown for you all, so you all know who she is, basically what her plan, what to expect from her in the next 2 episodes of Doctor Who. So, are you all sitting comfortably? Good, so let's get into it. The Rani is a time lady from the planet Gallifrey, like the Doctor, and of course the Master. Now, of course, we all know about the whole timeless child story arc and all that with the Doctor. So, God knows how or when, basically, she met the Doctor, but apparently in basic time of the Rani, she says that the Doctor says that she's basically he is the same age as the Rani, and that was of course in the 7th incarnation before we had the whole timeless child story arc going on. So after the Doctor kind of had his mind wiped, turned back into a child, and basically that child grew into William Hartnell's Doctor, the Doctor, the Rani, and the Master attended Time Lord Academy. And, of course, all three of them were really, really good friends. And, of course, the Doctor, being a Doctor, was very, very good with his experiments. And the Master, being the Master, you know, they would have a very good child rivalry. And the Rani was supposed to be part of that rivalry. But, yeah, not really much to say. But then when you think about it, though, when the first Doctor left Gallifrey, and, of course, he took his granddaughter Susan, the Master left Gallifrey to go in search for the Doctor. So the Rani stayed on Gallifrey by herself. And, of course, she basically passed Time Lord Academy. The only reason she was kicked out of Gallifrey. Now, don't forget that the Rani was actually exiled from Gallifrey after her experiment at the Lord President's cat. Yeah, the Rani was a very, very good and pure genius for basically using equipment and making experiments and stuff. And of course, that experiment does escape and eat the Lord President's cat, and of course that does lead to her being kicked out from Gallifrey. So when we first meet the Rani, she's actually hiding in a Victorian little village in, of course, the story known as Market of Rani. Now, the actual filming location I actually went to, which was, of course, Blitz Hill. So I went around to Blitz Hill in my Colin Baker outfit, but yeah, so basically that's her very first debut story, the Market of Rani. So the Rani has disguised herself as an old lady who literally runs like a bathhouse. And of course, you got like smoke and stuff. And basically, she's experimenting on people, using them to become more aggressive. And on their necks, or leaving a mark, which is why it's called the Mark of the Rani. So during that point, the Doctor does land to investigate because the TARDIS does pick up another time machine. And also lurking around is the Master, played by the wonderful, amazing Anthony Ailey, who is my favourite incarnation of the Master. So, of course, the Rani and the Master do kind of team up so they can try and get rid of the Doctor, so the Doctor doesn't ruin the Rani's, basically, experiments. Which the Doctor does by tweaking with her TARDIS after she called him a dilly-dandy. And the Doctor is so insulted in his 6th incarnation, he goes, dilly-dandy, like that. And, of course, he goes, like that. And he tweaks. And, of course, when you get to the end of the story, the Rani and the Master are trapped inside an accelerating TARDIS towards the Milky Way with a dinosaur embryo smashing onto the floor and kind of growing between them. And that's the last time we actually saw the Rani until 1987, where basically we find out that the whole course of the Doctor's regeneration from his 6th to 7th incarnations is caused by the Rani by using tachyon beams, which can actually be deadly to a Time Lord and cause a regeneration. So during that story, the Rani wants to use the Doctor so she can actually connect him up to the brain, where she's gone around kidnapping fantastic people through the universe like Einstein, so they can try and find a way to actually help her to fire a missile into a rocket into a missile like strange matter and an asteroid. But the plan is foiled by the Doctor in his new and 7th incarnation after the Rani kind of drugs him with amnesia and makes him think that she's Mel in a very, very bad wig. And I mean a very, very bad wig. She's allegedly dressed as Mel really badly, the Rani has. But it does trick the Doctor for a little bit until the Doctor does meet Mel. And of course that does lead into another whole escapade. If you want to, I can do a review on Mark of the Rani and Town of Rani if you want. Let me know in the comment section down below if you want me to do a review for those 2 stories, and I'd be very happy to. So then, of course, after basically the Rani escapes in her TARDIS, but not properly escaped because she is captured by the Traps, and she's there hanging, and of course they're going back to their home planet, and of course they were going to use the Rani to be their scientist. Somehow the Rani does escape the Traps' plan, and she ends up sapping the Doctor down to Earth, in aka down near Victoria Gardens, aka where they film EastEnders. So this was a very, very bad EastEnders Doctor Who crossover that came out back in 1993. And of course the Rani has created like a time scoop, and of course she's already scooped the 1st and 2nd Doctors with very, very bad CGI effects on their heads. But the Rani basically does end up battering against the Doctor through his 3rd to his 7th incarnations, apart from the 4th Doctor being trapped in a really bad Windows 7 sort of thing. She hates me. She even hates children. I absolutely do like Dimensions of Time, but it's not the best story. It's a little bit funny, and it's like, yeah, you know what, I do enjoy it because it's got some good moments in it. Some people will lash on it. But yeah, the Rani does have a downfall after the Doctor foils the plan in his 7th incarnation. Everyone goes back into the time streams. And that was technically the last time we see the Rani. Now, there was no mention of her when the show came back during the revival era because of the whole Time War. I presume she died during the Time War, but we found out lately, no. Because the next time we do see the Rani is basically from the church on Ruby Road up to basically now as Mrs. Flood. So Mrs. Flood, aka Rani, now, because of the whole biogeneration in the episode, yesterday's episode. So the Mrs. Flood does biogenerate, and of course we have a brand new version of the Rani. The definite article, you might say. So this is where we're up to now with the Rani. So basically being Mrs. Flood, being the one kind of manipulating the events in the church on Ruby Road, where she points Ruby to the TARDIS. I don't know how the Rani does break the 4th wall a lot in season 1. Like when she's there talking, I'm sorry to say, but the Doctor's end is going to end into absolute terror. So I don't know how they managed to do that, basically with the whole breaking the 4th wall thing, but it's still really good. Anita Dawson is very, very good as Mrs. Flood, and then of course as the Rani. And the new Rani, I'm really looking forward to what she's going to be absolutely stunning, I think. Watching her performance, she really gives me like Kato Mara vibes. So I think when they actually announced her like to become the proper Rani, I think she must have gone back and watched Kato Mara. But yeah, the Rani is an intelligent Time Lord. She and the Doctor does have a little bit of beef now and again, because it actually did cause him to regenerate from his 6th into his 7th incarnations. The 6th Doctor interfered in her plans where she was trying to manipulate and basically steal the power of sleep of humans in Mark of the Rani. And of course he does escape from her trap. So this is literally a little bit of a breakdown for you all, so you know about the Rani, who she is, and basically I'm actually quite looking forward to what they are going to do with the Rani, and of course, well, the 2 Ranis, aka the Mrs. Flood version of the Rani. It's a bit like having Missy and Howard Saxon, really, because, you know, being the Saxon master. But yeah, I'm actually quite looking forward to it. We have the return of the Rani. This video is literally like a little bit of a breakdown, so you all know who she is, a little bit of a background. I'm actually quite looking forward to it. So, if you want to, you can actually go to BBC iPlayer and watch classic Doctor Who on there. And of course, if you click on season 22, scroll down, you have 2 episodes of Mark the Rani, which is 2 45-minute episodes. And then if you go to season 24, you can actually watch Time of the Rani on BBC iPlayer. But if you're someone like me and you want to collect the collection box sets, then you can either pick up these 2. Oops. So you pick up Doctor Who The Collection Season 22, which contains Mark of the Rani. And, more importantly, you have Doctor Who The Collection Season 24 with Time and Rani. So yeah, the Rani does battle the 6th and 7th Doctors in 1985 and of course in 1987. But now she's back as a character. Now, when basically Missy came back, and of course it was filled with the Master, I actually thought that was going to be the Rani at some point until the whole Master twist. So I'm glad they're bringing back the Rani. I've always wanted the Rani's return at some point after Missy. And of course after the Master, because I think it'd be pretty good. If I have hopes, I would love to see the return of the Master at some point, so we can have the Doctor, the Rani, and the Master have one battle with basically like with all three of them that we had in Mark of the Rani, and the Doctor basically triumphing over the two Time Lords. So let me know in the comments, are you looking forward to seeing the return of the Rani in next week's episode? Are you looking forward to what the plan is? I cannot wait. I honestly cannot wait. Please do like, subscribe, and share. A very awesome Doctor Who content.